guys, welcome back to Table Talk.
Thank you so much for being subscribed to our channel. Make sure that you hit the notification bell so you get a notification every time the gang posts.
Yes, and this month for Table Talk, we're going to be focusing on a series that we're titling Goals.
And we'll be covering friendships, dating, and marriage.
And maybe you're wondering why the Table Talk setup is a little bit different. There's a reason for that. We want to make things more intimate, more personal with you, our subscriber, our viewers. So stay tuned, stay connected, and let's go ahead and get started. Hi guys, welcome back to Table Talk. This is the setting we were talking about when we mentioned wanting to be more intimate, more personal with you, our viewer and our subscriber. And I think today's topic in regards to friendships is a perfect one. The Bible has many verses in regards to friendship, but one that stood out to me is in Proverbs, and it says, "A friend loves at all times." You guys that are watching, you guys know, or maybe you've experienced it. Finding a true friend is hard nowadays. Someone that's loyal, someone that's there for you in good times and in bad times. And I believe when it says that it's there at all times is the goal that we're trying to reach as us young people, to be able to find a true friend. And I think today's guest is going to be perfect when it comes to touching this topic.
Amen. So tonight we have an awesome guest. Today it's Sister Mayra Flores. She's going to be helping us cover this topic of friendship. So we have some questions that we prepared for you today, to get those nerves out and to make sure that this is an awesome time of Table Talk. So I know you've been married for 8 years and you have 2 kids. Amen. So we just want to know, how long have you been saved?
So I've been saved for 11 years.
11 years. And what age did you dedicate your life to the Lord?
I was really young. Actually, when I first gave my life to God, I was like 10 or 11 years old, in our old church. But again, I was playing the part, and I was kind of playing church, so I really didn't know what it was to have a relationship with God. So I always say that in UTC in 2009 is when God saved me, and I actually gave my life to God. I understood what it was to be saved.
Yeah, and to have that real encounter with God, right? Was okay, that's cool. So she's promoting the UTC. So if you don't know the UTC, get to the UTC, amen. And I know you serve a lot in church, but what are some ministries that you'd say are your favorite, or you just have your heart in that ministry?
I would say the worship team. The worship, being part of the worship team and serving in the worship every Friday and Sunday service. It's just something so beautiful that being part of the choir, you get to usher the not just the youth, but the people of the church, the congregation, to the presence of God. That's just something that I love doing on a service.
Yeah, I feel like when you're in the worship, that's a true calling. It's not just a performance. It's not. In the beginning, I honestly felt okay, well, I can't sing. But then I feel when you really get into that moment of God just takes over, and it's no longer you, and you don't worry about how you sound, but all you worry about is pleasing God. Amen. And we have some questions that are going to be focused on today's topic, which is friendship. So I believe the first question is, what makes you realize that you were in unhealthy relationships or in a friendship overall? What made you realize this is not a good friendship, I should get out of this? What was that for you?
So basically, with a friend, you also you have to, in a friendship, you have to see obviously good things and bad things. There's always going to be that. So for a bad thing or something that you kind of notice, hey, something's not right, or this person's not good for you, is going against what you know you should be doing good, and going against that.
Yeah.
Having to hide things that you were doing, I'm gonna go out with this person, but my parents can't know.
Yeah.
That's something where it's kind of hey, why why am I hiding? Why am I hiding? Why is it okay? Yeah. So that's something that you can see that's not a good, in a friendship, is not a good thing if you're hiding from people what you're doing, or you can't whatever's behind closed doors. It's something different than what you do when you're outside in the open.
Yeah. True, and I think I can share a little bit from experience, and I kind of wrote it down right here in my notes, that I know that if you guys didn't know, she's my sister. So we grew up with values and principles in a Christian home. Before my dad was a pastor, we grew up with those values and principles of what it really is to have friends, and our mom would always say, dime con quién estás y te diré quién eres. Tell me who you hang out with and I'll tell you who you are. And I think that's really true, and I feel growing up, I had my personal experience with bad friends, and I knew that when I was with them, my own values and principles that I was taught with, they would go out the window. So I think that's a red flag, that if you're around people and all your values, your principles, all your morals, they go out the window, I think that's a red flag that you're around the wrong crowd. And I think when you know that somebody's your true friend, you're yourself. And if you can't be yourself, if you don't have those values and principles, or you're afraid to do the right thing, I think that's a red flag that you're not in a good friendship, right?
I believe what she said in regards to, if you gotta be someone different, if I'm different with you, and then when I'm back home, I'm someone else, that's when we gotta think about our true friendship. And I think it kind of ties on to the other question is do you believe that your past friendships, your past failed friendships made an impact on maybe allowing new friends to come into your life as a young adult or as an adult?
Yeah, definitely, because you have those so-called friends or people that you trusted and they would backstab you or, you know, like talk behind your back and you know, even say, like, spread rumors about you that weren't true, that they knew they weren't true.
Yeah.
But it was hard after a while, like, to kind of trust people, like, to give it your 100% to somebody new that came around.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, it's the bad part of, you know, like, you kind of have like a barrier, you put yourself a wall, and it's kind of like, oh, I'm not gonna get close to you yet because I've been hurt before. You know, I've had friends that they said they were my friends, but you know, they did me dirty, or you know, they were talking behind my back, and it's hard to open up after. It's something that you kind of like go through, you know, like through life like that, because
it takes time.
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, like, for all that to go away, to you know, be able to trust God that these people are really your friends.
And sorry to interrupt, but there's that saying where, you know, that when it comes to eating, it says you are what you eat. But I think we can kind of relate that into friendships. You know, you are who you hang out with.
Yeah.
And the Bible says in a Proverbs 13, it says, walk with the wise and become wise. And then it says, for a companion of fools suffers harm. In other words, the person that we hang out with, sooner or later you will become that person.
Yeah.
If you're with someone that's hot-tempered, someone that cusses up a storm, listens to nothing but Drake, that new album that he just dropped, sooner or later you become that person. Sooner or later you become that. And I think it goes back to even a little later in Proverbs, it says, bad company corrupts good morals. Right? You guys talked about growing up with good morals and growing up with principles, but if you hang out with bad company, sooner or later it's something that's gonna go out the window. You know?
In high school, I hung out with somebody for all my high school, like freshman to senior year, hanging out with this one person, my best friend, and there would be rumors about her and that, you know, she was doing stuff and she was, you know, hanging out with the wrong people, and she was hanging out with this guy, and just by me hanging out with her, they thought I was the same way, and I wasn't. And it's kind of like, you kind of crazy, you have to defend yourself pretty much, but instead of realizing like, this person's not good for me, I shouldn't be around them, I was just like, wait, I would find myself having to defend myself, you know, who I was, and I'm like, wait, I'm not like that. But I mean, again, it's who you're hanging out with, so.
You are who you hang out with.
And I think something else that I wrote here, that a good friend is honest, present, and real. And I noticed that a lot of fake friends, or a lot of toxic people, friendships that come into our life, they aren't honest, present, and real, because they aren't real enough to tell us like, man, what we're doing is wrong. They aren't real enough or honest to tell us like, man, we shouldn't have done this, but they're fake and they're horrible friends because they lead us to doing bad decisions. And I think a good friend is the one that's gonna tell you like, hey man, we got into this, we gotta get out of it. And I think that as like millennials, and even like if you're a young adult, if you're a high schooler, like, friendship is really going to shape you, because you decide who you let into your life. You decide who you want to be your friend. But if we don't choose them right, it could really have an impact of who we are, the way we think, the way we, you know, adjust ourselves. And I think that's a big red flag. You know, what else would you say is a common red flag if you're in a toxic friendship?
Be careful with the people that are one person with you, and then a different person with somebody else. Because they're not being truthful, they're not being honest, there's something up, you know. I have a Bible verse that I wanted to share with you guys, and it says, Proverbs 16:28, a dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. So it's something like, I was like, hey, that's a red flag right there. It's telling us to watch out for these things. Like, you know, if they're so-called friends, but yet they're whispering, what are they whispering about? They're talking about you. And then, are they good to, also another red flag is if they're talking about somebody else to you, what is to say they're not talking about you to another girl, you know, another
and those red
friendship.
flags are something that we got to keep an eye on, because the red flag in a friendship can lead you to ending up in a relationship that you never would have found yourself. Why? Because you were being one person, and now you got to be that person in your relationship and into dating and into engagement, and the rest goes. So that's why it's so important to find people who are true, people who are loyal, you know, people who are there for you when you got the money, right? People that are there with you when you're taking them places, and also people that are riding the bus with you, you know, the highs and the lows. And like I said at the beginning, it's so hard, you know, but what are some qualities that maybe a good friend should have, or when someone who's watching this that can say, like, how do I know if this person is a good friend for me?
Does this person pray with you? Does this person encourage you? Does this person check up on you and say, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? Or, hey, you know, you didn't seem yourself today. Like, you know, what can I help you with? What's going on? Like, when you know somebody really knows you, that what you're going through, if you feel sad or, you know, lonely or happy, or if they know your emotions, that means that person's a true friend. They're watching out for you. They're worried for you. They pray for you. They encourage you. They're always there for you. Not just not in a gossipy way, you know. Like, it's more like they're there for you when you need them the most, you know.
And friendship isn't like a one-way street. It's two ways, you know. And I think I noticed that a lot. Like, a good friend is there when you need them, not just, hey, I need you. Can you be there for me? Like, a good friend is gonna be, hey, I want to pray with you too. You know, don't just pray for me. And also, a good friend
is someone who calls out your flaws. Right? Like the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. You know, so that's where if you have someone who's afraid to tell you the truth, then in reality, are they a friend? You know, because if you're not being called out for what you're doing wrong, it can lead you to so many wrong decisions. You know, there are so many people that are watching, or so many people that we know, or that I know that are not thriving in their purpose because of a lack of a true friend. You know, and I think that's something.
That's funny that you said that, because I wrote down Proverbs 27:6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, profuse are the kisses of an enemy. And that's something that I was thinking about, and I was like, wow, like, a friend can't be afraid to hurt you a little bit, but for a good reason, you know, for your own good, to call you out in your flaws, to know that's gonna help you grow, that's gonna encourage you to change, to fix the problem. And that's something that is key, that's something a friend will do, not somebody who doesn't care about you. Somebody who doesn't care about you, they don't care if you're growing. If anything, they want to see you down.
That's true. And I think like a good friend is always challenging you, but for the good, you know, like persuading you, like she said, to do good things, you know, because they want to see you do better. You know, if it's not a good friend, they want to see you down. They want to see you, like, you know, those low-key friends but low-key haters, you know. Those are the ones we got to watch out for, you know, the ones that pretend they're your friends, but they're really not. They're not after your best interest, you know. They're after their own personal interests. And I think that's our notification to wrap it up. What do you think? That's our time's up right there.
Time's up.
Yeah, I think that's our time's up. But I think overall, one of the things that we can say overall, what we've learned here, is that if you want to know anything about friendship, look in the book of Proverbs, because I noticed both of you guys are saying a lot of Proverbs, right? So this is kind of our overview of what friendship is, you know, what we believe are from our experiences, and we just want to make sure that you guys continue to stay plugged in with these series. We're gonna do another one on dating, and the last one will be on marriage. Amen. So we want to continue to edify your guys' lives with what we're learning as well. Amen. So Abraham,
stay tuned, stay connected, and I pray that this was a blessing to your life. You know, it all starts with a good friend. And I think, like, the thing most of us hit it is go to God, right? Go to God and seek that first from Him. Because if we go to God first and foremost, and then everything else will be added into our lives. So again, I pray you guys were blessed with this video. Stay tuned for next week's as we hit on dating. But again, I pray this was a blessing in your life. God bless you guys.
subscribe.